All right, so we've got the finale of season 7 has come and gone. Another Walking Dead season complete, sadly. This episode 16, the first day of the rest of your life. And
feels good.
A good start to the rest of our lives.
Well, for some of us.
Yeah.
Some of them on there.
Well, that leads me to my very first question. So when you guys...
Jumping right into it. Hey, JP. How you doing?
Oh, hi.
See, I just jump right in and just start talking, man. I'm sorry.
So when you guys first saw Sasha, what was your initial thought? Did you think she's dying? Or what did you think was actually going on with her?
You go ahead. You go ahead first.
I should go?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I thought that was a great song to commit suicide to. It's definitely on my like suicide playlist on YouTube. Yeah, it's very top.
Along with Jeremy and what's another good? I don't know.
Anything by My
All by
Chemical
Myself.
Romance.
Yeah, there you go.
And Dancing in the Moonlight.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you think she was actually dying, or what did you think was going on?
Yeah, with the flashbacks. I mean, this episode was definitely a little, you kind of knew where it was going. You know, someone was going to turn on someone. Negan was going to get the upper hand. The kingdom was going to jump in. But even still, I mean, I enjoyed it top to bottom.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a fantastic.
Yeah,
they did a really good job
great.
of suspense building. I mean, it was very tense, the entire episode. Matt, did you think Sasha was dying? Was that your first thought?
And it's hard to say if I didn't know the comics like I do, or if I didn't know what was coming and we hadn't discussed stuff. I wonder, would I think that? Would I think,
right.
maybe they're just
that all the
transporting
time.
her?
Like, what would I think if I hadn't read the comics?
I was very confused. Like, she was kind of dozing, so I figured something was going on. I thought it was like, okay, she got a bag over her head.
That's what I thought was she had. I was like, that's big bag.
I guess in the comics, they're not moving around, whereas in the TV show, you got to show her like standing there moving around. And you can tell it's a zombie. So I get the whole casket thing.
How happy / sad were you to see Abraham again? Did you just realize how much you miss him when you finally saw him back?
Now, those were flashbacks?
Those were flashbacks.
Okay, because at first I was like, what's just imagining what she's imagining?
That's what I interpreted it as, because it was right before they took Maggie to the hilltop, and then she had a dream about Abraham. What were they? They were on a beach, and then Abraham was drowning or something like that. She dreamed he died. Right before he actually did die.
It was wild seeing him again. It's almost like his whiskers were tickling me as they kissed. It was really wild.
I really miss him on the show. I would have, in an alternate universe, I would love to see him and Negan together, like him having to submit to Negan, like because Abraham probably would never, but just say he did for the sake of the greater good, to see him gritting his teeth and because Negan's got all of these zingers and funny things he says. So does Abraham. So to see, we could almost have like an Abraham Negan wit off where they just throw out random one-liners at each other and see who's funnier would be amazing.
There was a lot of good one-liners this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Great boy.
Well, that actually, it's funny you say that. I could show you. My next question starts out with Negan has such a way with words.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't he? And I said, and not only does he make great spaghetti, but he also makes really good breakfast. I really do see a pattern here, though it seems some saviors are tired of serving under Negan. It really does seem, though, like if you play ball with him and you do what he wants to do, he treats you decent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like Sasha, he stopped her from being raped. He didn't beat her up. He didn't threaten her. He just is like, hey, your friends are screwing up. I've got to go stop it. I'm going to kill 3. I want you to help me and no one else will die. And then she negotiated them down to 1 person being killed, which you probably predicted was going to be her. But, it really does. Like, I know he's the bad guy, but I give him credit. A while back, I was scared they were going to write him too evil to be redeemed. But you really are seeing, if you work with him, and you do what he wants. I mean, he really treats like Eugene. Eugene's being treated top notch. Even Dwight. I mean, he gets made fun of some, but I mean, once he got to Iron, Dwight's betrayed him and still been given a leadership position.
In Negan's mind, killing people is just a necessary evil to maintain the
That's
status
what we were
quo.
talking about last. And Matt, I had a rebuttal that I didn't think. You said you didn't see Negan as the kind of person that would be trying to save the world so much as
right.
himself.
Well, this episode, man, this was the first time that I have ever seen Negan so compassionate.
That's why Negan's such a brilliantly written character, is that it's so cliche to write a villain to be like, I care about myself and that's it. The beauty of Negan's evil is that in his own twisted mind, he does think he's saving the world. You have to, what is it? The old saying, if you want to make an omelet, you got to crack some eggs. It's like, unfortunately, people have to die, but he thinks he's getting them in line to the New World Order.
And then we'll get to it later, but like the whole thing at the end with him and Rick, man, just like the look on his face when Rick said, we'll get to that later. But anyway, really, really stretch of emotion for Jeffrey Dean Morgan in this episode.
Oh yeah, he was amazing.
Awesome.
I think of a lot of. Well, I mean, you had several characters shine, but I think out of all of them, it was this episode was Negan's. I mean, he was. I mean, I would
Sasha
say
Negan.
Well, I would say, well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking about who shined the most. I mean, Sasha's acting didn't necessarily. I mean, she's a great actress, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan's acting as Negan definitely shined this episode, just because I loved it, man. Like whenever he was on screen, that's what you were focused on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Andrew Lincoln, of course, is amazing. I mean, that's just been established seasons ago. All right, so we got to see Tara confront Dwight about the death of Denise. Matt, I'm sure you would just probably get over it.
Yeah, I would. But you know what? But at the same time, I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I have been too cruel about Denise. Maybe I have gone a little. I know, right? No, I had an epiphany. Like as I was watching it, I was just like, man,
Matt.
like they lost some. Calm down, hold on now. No, I'm just saying, maybe I give her a little too much slack. I get they lost somebody. I get it, but I'm glad that character's gone. So I'll say that. I'll try to be a little bit nicer in the future.
Well, he maintains that he was not aiming for her. So we assume he was aiming for Daryl because, he had told him when he killed her, that wasn't even who I think kicks like hell, to which maybe I'm just shooting some weak crossbows. I never really felt a crossbow kick per se.
I thought my internet skipped because when she said do it, when she was telling Daryl to do it, who's Daryl had him? Who had him at gunpoint?
Daryl had his knife up to his eye.
That's her knife point. And she kept saying, "Do it," and then the episode was going. Then she said, "Do it again," like the exact same way.
Yeah,
I was like, "Wait, did it go back again?" No, she was pushing that point home.
That leads to one of my next two questions for you. So, did that anybody else kind of reminisce on Carl begging Rick? Well, not begging. He wasn't as adamant as Tara, but telling Rick to kill Randall. Remember, Rick had Randall at gunpoint in the barn. Season 2 was about to kill him, and Carl's like, "Do it, Dad." Do it, which ended up, stopping him from actually doing it. I kind of felt, I know that I don't think they were trying to draw a parallel per se, but, it was interesting. It reminded me of that. Here lately, and in a good way, not in a bad way, not the reusing old material, but I've really felt some parallels between some of the older stuff. So with Dwight claiming that everything he did evil and bad, he did it for his ex-wife, do you feel any empathy for him at all now? Do you think that there's any redemption for him, or do you think that they've just made him too much of a douchebag to come back from?
I don't think anybody's going to miss him once he's gone. That's for sure. If he eats it.
Well, hey, we got
eats the pancakes. No, gets killed.
Eats the pancakes.
Yeah.
We've got Daryl saying that one day he's going to kill that sumbitch. Considering Daryl is not in the comics, JP, what do you think the chances are that he'll eventually die on the show? Because, in the comics he plays a pretty damn big role, especially after the whole Negan saga. Do you think that they might actually kill him in the show, being you kind of got Daryl that can take his mantle as the leader of the Saviors if he needs to?
I think he'll stick around.
You think he'll be around for a while?
I think it's going to be a moral conundrum that kind of brings Daryl back, from the brink that he's been to.
I was going to say, do you think Daryl would do it, or do you think he could actually come to accept Dwight?
I think it's going to be what brings him back. He's going to be like, well, you know what?
Yeah, he's going to see that he's trying to change. That Dwight's trying to change, so maybe that'll show him that. Okay,
maybe that'll remind him of himself. Because remember, he was just a huge douchebag in the first couple episodes. I mean, we started seeing some development as the season went on. But, I mean, he was a douchebag. I mean, he was the one nobody wanted to be around. Everyone was just kind of like, the hell with him. And now he's become a loved. So, I mean, you're right. It very well could be he kind of sees himself, Which
I wonder if they'll rush that with Dwight, like his whole, because it'll go over the course of season 8. But I wonder if it'll.
I think they'll probably stretch it out at least to the mid-season finale of Dwight kind of playing double agent. I mean, because it goes on for a little while. Okay. Negan's kind of none the wiser. So what do you think they want us to learn from these flashes to Abraham and Sasha? What do you think the message they're trying to convey to that is? Do you think they're maybe giving us the relationship time that they never got to have? Because, I mean, they really weren't together that long from our point of view until he died. Do you think maybe this was to reiterate why she felt the way she felt? Because, I mean, I
honestly didn't think about it. I didn't think about it.
I mean, I thought it was several different things. One, it showed their love, the relationship they had. Mm-hmm. 2, it showed that they both were willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. I think that was kind of the main point was, them saying, hey, they both were willing to do what they had to do because, Maggie was having a baby, and as Abraham said, that's the future. And I think it was just to show us why she was killing herself, that she was willing to sacrifice herself much the way Abraham was, because Abraham was straight up like, I'm going. Maggie's carrying the future in her stomach, and I want to help, do this because it's for the greater good. And I think that's what motivated Sasha to do her thing.
And man, going back real quick, you're talking about how like Negan is none the wiser about Dwight's betrayal. I mean, I think it's important to remember that, Dwight apparently didn't know about the scavengers being under Negan's thumb, so he was smart enough to keep that from Dwight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Was there really, was there ever a doubt that it was the scavengers?
Oh, you guys called it early on.
Yeah. We called that a while back. I had said, think about it, her name's Jadis, remove the A, put a U, Judas. I mean, I think that's been... I hope they die. But I got a good question about them coming up. Coming up. I've got a good question about them. We'll get some predictions going for next season.
I did like the scene. It was really when she was like, sit down. Or did she say get down or sit down or kneel down or whatever she said to Rick, like right when everything was going down, he wouldn't do it. And then she,
shot him
and pushed him up. She's like, sit down. Like that was, I like the presentation of that, but the character just irked. Ooh.
But yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that now, because in the comics I was saying Negan wasn't really none the wiser about Dwight. Sure. But in the show, you're right. He didn't tell. I wonder if he'd maybe told Simon. Do you think maybe Dwight will get jealous and be like, I thought I was your favorite general?
Yeah.
You told Simon, but you didn't tell me. Which, by the way, it was cool to see Negan and Simon together again.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see them embrace in the way. But I saw Simon had his own little leather jacket on, not quite as rad as Negan's. But, I think he definitely wants to see a little Negan inside of himself. And he also wants to be like Negan.
Phrasing. I feel like you said. I know. I think
did you catch
said
the second part? I said he wants to see a little Negan inside him, and he'd like to be like Negan as well. So, do you think Negan had a general respect for Sasha? Or do you think that he was just using her? Do you think that he actually? Because it does seem that Negan admires people, even Rick, that fight him, but show some initiative.
Because especially when he was like when he saw it and he knew what had happened, he was really pissed off. I'm thinking of a different scene when he closed the casket on her. He was like, "You're crazy" or something like that or whatever. But you could see the general, like that's what I'm saying, man. His emotions in this.
Oh yeah, well he told her when he closed the casket, he's like, "Thanks for doing this."
Right.
Like he really seemed genuinely appreciative. I think he had a respect for her. I think Negan. Real recognizes real. I think Negan can see the cowards or the people that are putting up a front to survive the apocalypse, and he can see the ones that really truly are brave or vicious and. He's got a respect for it because he's an alpha dog, and
he definitely gets off on bending people to his will. Just seducing them into the darkness.
You see that later when he negotiates with Jadis. Again, with his smooth words, it's not a guy-girl thing. He says, "If you had a dick, I'd still have these feelings."
Right,
which I just thought was awesome. He's like, "Hey, it isn't that I want to bone you. I just think that you're an awesome person." I mean, like I said, they really are doing a good job of making Negan a very likable villain. I mean. I was worried when he threw the doctor in the furnace that they were just making him too brutal and evil to have you one day rooting for him. But I could see if they keep going the way they're going. I mean, again, in the comics, spoilers, I'm sorry, but in the comics, he intentionally kills Holly. There was no poison behind the scenes stuff that we were aware of. He delivers Holly back to Rick and the group knowing she's dead and knowing that she's a zombie. And then in the show Negan didn't mean to do that. You know what I mean? He had every intention to deliver her alive and well. And
that's true.
So a little bit of variation from the comic.
And maybe Negan was like, I'd bone you whether you had a wiener or not.
Yeah,
his sexuality
can do whatever he wants. He's Negan.
It's definitely a little ambiguous.
Which was Dwight's wife? Was that Negan's like favorite?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it seems.
Yeah.
So that's probably because we all know Negan kind of gets really passionate about stuff. So
probably he knew of all of them. She just straight up object to everything he said. I mean, she was one of the only ones that like called him out to his face on certain things, and I think he gets off on that when Olivia smacked him.
So I can see him. I can see him burning the doctor for her. For believing that he
betrayed her.
Yeah, in the context of the TV show, in real life, never. But I get it.
So Maggie wants to join the fight, and after all, she's probably got the most. In my opinion, I feel like Maggie really does, aside from Rick, have the most reason to fight. Now, Rick. Maybe it didn't lose some. I mean, he lost Glenn, who was very, very close to him as well. He wasn't boning Glenn, in the way that
we
Maggie
don't know
was.
that,
right? We don't know that. But I mean, at the same time, Rick has had his leadership challenged. He's been humiliated in front of his people. I mean, he's definitely you've got a leader of the pack struggle going on here. But Maggie lost the love of her life and the father of her unborn child. Are you glad that we're not seeing like a reckless, bloodthirsty Maggie and more of like a cool, calm, calculated?
I think there's still time for it. Like, I think right now I like seeing, because at the end of it, when it was all three of them on the, and I know I'm skipping ahead, but it was all three of them up there, like talking. She's talking to the crowd and everything. Really nice. We'll get to that. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, like I
got
really am
excited.
glad
Good
to see. I think it's so easy in a story to write someone as being this, reckless, just out for blood, vengeance person, but then to turn around and write her as it's almost like Glenn's death leveled her,
Calmed her,
I guess maybe reminded her of everyone's mortality, just like, hey, you can't rush into stuff. You've got to. People die when you do that. I mean, that's what Rick and them pretty much did. I mean,
she's starting to think about what would Glenn have done if he were here in this situation.
And Glenn definitely much more of a layback and plan, which we've seen reckless Glenn in season 3, but I think he grew past that as time went on.
And if she wasn't with Baby, maybe she would be a little bit more devil may care. But she's living for 2 now.
Did it hit you in the feels to see her handed Herschel/Glenn's watch?
Oh gosh,
right in the feels when she got handed that. So it's like a little piece of Glenn is aside from the baby is there with her. Glenn and her dad. I mean, her dad really helped shape the way Glenn kind of looked at the world too. Yeah. So I right in the feels.
That was that's what I was talking. That's good.
Here's some good possible symbolism here. Maybe I just look too far into things, but we see Morgan ready to go with that spiked staff. Do you think perhaps the fact that one side is spiked and the other isn't could be symbolic of his now controlled rage? Like he's back to killing, but he's not hulking out and killing everything that moves like he used to. So he's kind of half. Back, you know what I'm saying?
Interesting. I mean, I like that point. That's a good point.
You got the blunt side, that could knock someone out if need be. But
I don't
the pointy
think they
side,
went that deep.
We like I say, we give The Walking Dead way too much credit sometimes. But you could definitely take that as
something I never would have thought about, though. That's very true. But I think it's probably just I need to make my stick pointy so they'll go into heads easier.
Yeah, but I mean, you could look at it as definitely almost like a Two-Face thing. Like he's got his soft side, he's got his deadly side, whichever he deems necessary in the situation, which as of right now is so good to see him out there killing.
Yeah,
it's sad that that's what we can say. Like, it was good to see Morgan kill again. But it was awesome.
Did they give him the smallest armor possible?
Well, it was Ben's armor.
Ben was much smaller there we go.
Him.
Okay, because I was like, that's not covering any kind of like really vital
that's
organs.
What Ezekiel asked him. Are you wearing Benjamin's armor to protect yourself or to honor Benjamin? And that's what I liked. I was going to say Ezekiel uses some big words, but he delivers some really good motivational speeches. Yeah. Again, I cannot express how happy I am with the casting of him. That guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But he does such a good job. I hope we see him in seasons to come because, I mean, he really adds a lot when he's on screen.
It felt very Braveheart when they rushed in.
Yeah.
Man. He was just saying, I can't remember what he said, but of course it was something like, today will be our day. I don't know. That is our Independence Day or something like that.
Alexandria will not fall this day.
That was a really good impression. Yeah.
Man,
the one I can do.
That's almost as good as my Rick impression. So Ezekiel uses some big words too, but was it cool? And I love his speech. I hope we see more Ezekiel speeches. Were you happy to see Carol marching beside him too, with an AK in her hand, ready to go?
Shiva right in between them.
They exchanged a glance, her and Ezekiel. Do you think that we're going to eventually see you? And you can meet, what is it? Reshone is easier to say. You can't really Ezekiel. How do you do an Ezekiel? I think it's going to happen. I think Ezekiel and Carol will be together. But how are you going to combine that name? Carol
Zirkle. How much have you drank this morning?
Ezekiel? I don't know how you would combine it. If you, the listener, can think of something creative, please throw it in the comments below. Ezekiel? Yeah.
I'm telling you, though, Shiva's the best battle tiger since
Holy
He-Man.
cow,
That's
dude.
for sure.
That's what I told. We were watching. I was like, obviously it's a show.
Good.
It's a show where dead people eat living people. So, I mean, the specifics aren't really all that important. But my only fear fighting with Rick and how does she differentiate the bad guys
I
from
was
the good
wondering
guys?
that too.
I'd be terrified to go in. I'd be like, Ezekiel, look, I mean, I know that tiger's awesome, but I don't want to fight alongside it because, I mean, we don't look different. It's not like we're fighting aliens to where it can easily tell human alien or.
Bro, I'm meeting eye contact away from getting my head ripped off by her. Like, I don't know. Do you think that they could get, the Savior's smell and give it to her?
I mean, every person has a different smell. I don't think there's a particular I don't think Negan's like, all right, welcome to the Saviors. Here is our official cologne.
Rub this on your crotch. Here you go.
Everyone must wear this. That was more Eugene than it was Negan.
That's Eugene's new job now when he's there.
He created a cologne for everyone.
Welcome to the Saviors. We are Negan. Here is our cologne.
Actually, too, if you are listening to this, if you're able to, because I know some of you said you'd listen while you drive, so definitely focus on the road. But if you're sitting at home, watch the screen. I don't know at what point it's going to pop up, but there's a cool behind-the-scenes photo that I included, and it's showing how they did the Shiva scene. It's a guy in blue jumping off of a mini trampoline behind Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It's pretty cool.
How do you think the dude that got his neck bitten into by Shiva felt having a dude in blue spandex straddle him all day?
Probably enthralled.
Oh, okay. To each
So
your own, I
the
guess.
garbage people roll in fashion. We've got bikes and garbage trucks. Quite the fleet rolling in there. Did you feel like something was up? I mean, we called it, but did you still think that was going to happen?
By the time they got there, for sure. Especially once that chick on the roof was, messing with Michonne.
Well, she told Michonne, we win.
We win.
And
Yeah.
it was I know it. I know where that's going.
Fires. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But that fight choreography, the fight between Michonne and that girl,
I feel like she could have ended her a lot quicker than she did. But so obviously Jadis wanted her some Rick. Now, being that we know she was going to betray them, do you think she actually wanted to hop on the Rick train, or do you think maybe she was just doing that as a way to further the trust? You know what I'm saying?
Both, but at this point, it's probably been so long for her that like if she had bangs,
All
like
she has is that old guy.
Yeah,
she's like, have sex good, you do not. With her Yoda talk.
I know. I was gonna say, wow. All right.
Here's something really cool. I really, really wish they would do, and it would redeem the way that those people speak. Because as of right now, it's really stupid. Like I told my dad, what they really should do is they should have like some kind of explanation for them. Perhaps they were foreign. Maybe they were visiting the country when the zombie apocalypse hit. They've been here now for about a year or two, so they've learned very broken English, and that would explain. Maybe they're Austrian, German.
Or they had like the same tape of some kind of like Shakespeare movie or something that they had to watch.
Some kind of because I just refuse to believe. I mean, it's just. I know we harp on it, and I know that the listeners probably get tired of us. But I mean, it is. It's almost distracting when they come on because you're like, dude, I know you can't pick out every little flaw with this show, or else any show you drive yourself mad. But dude, this is stupid. Like, I mean, so I would love some explanation. Maybe they were from another country and they spoke very broken English, and they've learned a little bit through the years. But that would explain why.
It's the same thing with the kingdom. I think people have seen that the world around them has crumbled, so they're trying to build the world back up in their own image.
Oh, yeah. I think there's some crazy people out there, but just to get that many people to follow that BS, which I don't know Ezekiel's
a lot of people
done.
looking for leaders now. I mean, in that time now, a lot of people are willing to do whatever they got to do. Followers. What are you going to do?
So we see, we saw Rosita putting those awesome explosive skills to work, but unfortunately it didn't go, which now leads into some really good questions. All right, so you had Eugene.
There's already been quite a few good ones. I'm kind of
glad that you've enjoyed them.
All right.
So Eugene convinced Negan to let him talk to Rick. Why do you think that was? Do you think he actually wanted to try and save lives, or perhaps just maybe prove himself to Negan? Because I'm starting to feel like Eugene has just gotten. I don't think his intentional. His initial betrayal was intentional. I think he was just trying to survive. But I think now that he's under Negan's thumb and living good, I think Eugene's actually starting to enjoy it. I think that he might actually be turning to the dark side.
No, don't go to the dark side.
I don't think he wants to see anyone in Alexandria die.
Right.
But at the same time,
he's Team Negan. I think that he like I said, so you do think maybe he wanted to save someone, thought he could save.
I think he's seen that going against Negan has been nothing but death and fear and destruction. But the minute that he joined up with Negan, he gets a monkey in his pocket and he gets video games and he gets all the whores he wants. Like, I mean, what would you choose?
He opened the vagina bar up for Dwight, so he better open it up for Eugene at some point, right? Because Dwight, he opened it up with Eugene. He's like, hey, don't touch, but you can look. So just saying.
The vagina bar is that place like right down the road. It used to be called the Virginia
it's
Bar.
It's a feminist organization.
So it's like the vagina bar. Yeah,
it's
girl
pretty,
power. Yeah.
Yeah, girlfriend. So, do you think him talking to her, he's trying to be a little, he definitely is putting some initiative out there, especially after talking to Sasha, telling her, he wished he could pretty much be as brave as she is, and he can't. But so imagine you're Rick. What do you think's going through his mind thinking about Eugene? I mean, that's the first time he's seen him since he's been captured.
He was definitely ready to blow him up. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
But
that was my next question. When he signaled for the explosives to be detonated, so he was okay with Eugene dying at that point. I mean, I guess he felt betrayed. He's like, hey, here's this guy that we've given shelter and protected, and now he's just here telling me to submit to Negan. I feel like he was ready to kill him because Rick just had that look in his eye, like,
Which I figured the bombs were going to go off because Negan hadn't brought Sasha yet. So I figured something was going to happen.
I thought he'd blown those up a little bit early because it pretty much looked like it would have just killed Eugene, right?
So I was like, what is like, why? When he did that, man, okay. That was very confusing.
So it's interesting territory here because I don't think Eugene ever fully in the comics, which I'd have to go back and read. It's been a while. I don't think he ever fully submitted to Negan in that regard. I mean, as far as...
So then Dwight's going to have to go through his whole thing, and they'll accept him, and then Eugene's going to come back, then he'll have to go through his whole thing.
I think the way they're playing Eugene so differently. I can see Eugene dying to sacrificing himself for Rick and them, kind of like his final act of bravery. We thought he got that when he drove the RV, but like he'll kind of flash back to that and he'll do something to sacrifice himself
flashbacks
for Rick and the group, So the garbage people and them obviously betrayed him. Do you think there's any redemption for them at all?
Nope,
or
not at all.
JP, do you think they could become the Whisperers?
That's something I've been wondering too, because they did just kind of wander off.
Right.
I mean, is Jadis going to become Alpha?
And they're kind of savage. And I hope that old man isn't going to be Beta though. We need like old school Kevin Nash in there to be Beta. I mean, we need some gigantic beast. I mean, because Negan is a monster in the comics, and Beta it towers over Negan. You know what I mean? Beta is just a humongous dude in the comics.
And something I've noticed: the further away they shoot Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
the taller,
the taller and skinnier he looks.
Oh yeah, now he is. I found out he is like I think 6'2", somewhere in that range. So he's a tall guy, but he is like they just really, like I said, it's a stupid complaint, I know, but I just wish that before the role they'd been like, all right, so half of Negan's appeal in the comics is that he's a pretty stout fella. So, we're going to put you in the gym for about a month or two, get you kind of stocked up. You don't have to make him bulky, huge like Negan, but just intimidatingly stocky at least.
Yeah, when he's in that T-shirt, his arms really are not very big, are they?
No, not at all.
He has older arms.
And man, he was definitely showing some turkey neck this episode, more so than like past episodes.
Oh yeah, like I said, I still hold firm in that it should have been Gareth Dillahunt or John Hamm, but I really love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I would have loved to have somehow seen him in the show in just as crazy of a role. But as I don't know. Like I'm happy to see him as Negan. Like I never, will say that they did it. They picked a good guy. I just still could have seen like John Hamm. Like when I see him on TV now, I'm like that. What could have been? Yeah. What could have been? But so I definitely could see them. Do you think that Rick's going to go after them for their betrayal, or do you think that he's just going to kind of?
I think he's got bigger fish to fry right now.
So you think right now he's just thinking they're scattered, they're gone. I'm going to let them be.
Yeah.
And that'll give them time possibly to go out, let Jada shave her head and become. Which would be interesting because in the comics, Negan and them meet the Whisperers. They don't know them prior, so to have the Whisperers show up with prior knowledge and experience with Rick and his group will be an interesting way to kind of
and at this
change
point,
things up.
I mean, I think she's just going to be out for revenge against everybody, and her only chance is to weaponize the walkers.
Right.
Was the girl who fighting Michonne, was she of any importance or just a random person?
Just a random person.
Okay. Now, did anybody really think that it was Michonne that fell?
Hold on, that's a question. Hold on, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So JP, as an avid comic reader, were you happy with the way they replaced Sasha's death for Holly's? Like, did you think they did a good job?
I love the parallels between the comic and the show this episode. We had a couple of them, with them think in the comic they thought it was Andrea falling out of the tower, whereas
it's Michonne now.
Yeah.
Did you because we had both previously complained about Fear the Walking Dead taking that.
Yeah.
That. So did you think the coffin was a nice way to switch it up?
Dude,
yet keep
I thought it was
a
great.
nod. I did. I thought the coffin was a really nice touch.
And the fact that
very
she wasn't
appropriate
just a victim,
for WrestleMania.
Right.
With the Undertaker, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, because in the show, she'd be standing there. It would be hard to conceal that she's not a zombie just with a bag over her head. You would be able to tell.
Yeah, she'd be squirming around.
But I don't know, because in the Walking Dead world, apparently they don't hear zombies. I mean, they're walking through the woods and it's perfectly calm day with no noise, and then out of nowhere, blah! So who knows? Did you see the general aching in Negan's eyes when he said, "Gotta get my Daryl back"?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Could you not see the general just heartbreak when he was seeing Daryl?
I'm telling you, so emotional this episode. It was amazing.
And I don't want to flash forward too far. I know it's like, but he mentioned something about Maggie being alive too, right? Like son of a bitch.
He's like, she's Maggie. Or she's Maggie. Yeah, she's alive. Yeah, well, he said something really fun with Tarnation or What in blazes, or something like that. He said something really.
Like I said,
funny.
I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. I mean, he does a wonderful job of personifying this character.
And it was kind of like a reverse thing. Like, remember with whatever season it was, Rick trying to talk reason to the governor when he had Herschel. Like, they were on the other side of the gate trying to talk reason to Rick. I mean, I know they're still the bad guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, there's no need for this war. We can all live and coexist. I mean, you're going to be under our heels.
I didn't see that. See, you're right. Very good point. They definitely are drawing some kind of parallels from the past. I mean, kind of as Rick and his group evolve from, just survivors to alpha group.
Rick's a little bit more governor-ish.
I want to be the guy that sprays down Andrew Lincoln's hair and face with a squirt bottle right before every take. Like that man, whenever it gets really crazy, he is just sweaty and there's got to be some guys going, shh,
just dripping.
Especially in his eyes. I really like the again, going back to Abraham's point of Maggie carrying the future. And again, it's something that, he ended up dying for. But again, I think that's where I think Sasha's drawing her inner Abraham. I was happy to see that the way they did it. I definitely thought they were going to kill someone along with Sasha. Like, I really thought it was either going to be Tara, because Tara dying could maybe give that girl from Oceanside the motivation she needed to join up with Rick and say the hell with her grandma. But I could definitely see Rosita being the one to embrace her if they had to have done the bag thing, and then it being Rosita. So I was actually kind of happy that it was neither one of them.
Yeah.
It was just Sasha.
Rosita was really good at looking concerned in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every time the camera flashed her, she had a concerned look on her face.
Oh, yeah. She's a good actress. She definitely owns that role. Carl is the damn man starting that fight.
Dude, that was John Wick style, man.
Yeah,
like,
when they revealed, which, I mean, again, I'm going back a little bit. Negan not knowing she was a zombie I really want to applaud that. I thought that was a great twist, because again, in the comics, he brought her knowing she was a zombie, whereas in the show, again, you see a more like Negan almost like they're friends. He's like, Sasha, come on out and tell, and then son of a bitch.
He was genuinely hurt that she was like a zombie.
I think he wanted her to survive the situation and be one of his people.
Well,
I
it'd
think
be good to have Sasha in your pocket.
I said last episode, I was like, what's going to be going through Negan's head? He finds Sasha dead. Is he going to think there was foul play? And sure enough, he's eyeballing Eugene.
Now check this out. We'll get to that.
I totally said it, and no one believed me.
We'll get to that. Hold on.
We don't have.
There's so many strings, man. I can't keep it all together.
All right. So you drew. It's funny that you drew a parallel to the prison fight, because so did I in this question when I said, did you get the same battle vibe as the prison when they fired the first shot? Because it was Rick at the prison that fired the first shot. He hacked Herschel's neck in half, and then it was then Rick started shooting. It's one of my favorite scenes of the show ever, was when Rick's just screaming and pulls out his gun. This time it was Carl. When those first shots went off, I kind of flashed back to the prison fight. You know what I mean? And
it was awesome, dude. It was really cool seeing man Carl, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he has become
I could not, about season 3 I wanted him gone, and now I really like Carl. Like, he's really stepped up, went through his little bratty phase, and has come out a man on the other side.
Well, he's like 27 years old now. So,
started the apocalypse. Started the apocalypse as 10 years old 2 years ago, and now he's 30.
There's like some soap opera statistics right there. That's
so Matt, as someone who's been very, very disappointed with the show in the last year, was the first final scene of action that we got, we had been waiting so long, was the first action scene, the big action scene, was it worth it?
Last 15 minutes of this episode, amazing. I'll even say the last 20 minutes, like from the point that the scavengers get to Alexandria.
Right.
Wonderful. Well,
so you were happy with the first fight?
Yes.
It was the action you'd been hoping for?
Yes. Like, I want to see more of that.
I loved it.
I don't think it has to be every episode or has to encompass every episode, but I want to see a little bit of that in every episode. I want to be like on my seat, be like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, now, how do you think things would have went if Sasha didn't kill herself?
Well, he would add more leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice to have her go out on one, kind of like Abraham,
right?
Going out with one final act of defiance.
What do you? Well, right. Well, that was my next question. What do you think? Why do you think she killed herself? Do you think she did it to inspire her group to fight?
Absolutely. I don't think she did it to get out of anything. I think she did it because she knew it was the only option to get the group to win this battle in the long run.
Right, knowing that if Rick would have saw her alive, he'd have been more inclined to negotiate and submit, and then someone would have died and gotten gotten Lucille.
She did so great. Like, because just seeing your face. You know,
we
it's
said
very
that a
hard to
week or
emote
two ago
but-
that she's the actress is like Andrew Lincoln, a very good facial actor.
And you can hear the bag rustling in her hands. So you know she's getting ready to take the pill. And you can see on her face, you know, she's like, okay, it's time to do it. I don't think there was ever a doubt. Maybe a split second she was like, do I want to do this? Yes. But I don't think she ever really had a doubt that this is what she had to do.
How about that old school iPod, man? I had one
Right?
of those.
And the
I
click
remember
sound really
having
brought
one of
it
those.
back.
Oh, yeah, the little wheel going. I just thought when I was a kid that was like the
Which,
coolest thing ever.
My only problem is that was like, what, a second or third generation iPod? You know that cable was destroyed within a year. So how are they charging this thing?
True that.
Because they also changed. Well, I don't know. So that would mean that Apple wouldn't have come out with new chargers or
Right.
new products. Oh, so crazy in a world where Apple doesn't have a different product every year.
It's like I don't know how we would adjust.
Whoa.
So for a while, it appeared that Michonne had met her match. I mean, the Garbage Girl was definitely holding her
I
own
was
against
not
one of
a
the most
fan.
badass characters on the show. How scared for Michonne were you? JP, I know, like, you know, reading the comic, you probably, same as I did, drew the parallel to Andrea. You're watching that and you're like, I know how this goes because I remember in the comic what happens with Andrea. But were either of you scared for her at any point? Think that Michonne was going to bite
No
the dust?
way.
Because
No
show's not brave
way.
enough to do stuff like, see,
Right.
again, if this was like season 3, maybe even season 4, you'd have been scared. Like, oh crap, are they going to kill Michonne? Oh my God, they're going to kill
Which,
Michonne.
her and Rick are in a relationship.
When
they may
she
kill her.
fell, you may have even been like, oh my God, you know, maybe they, you know, but now at this point in the show, which I was very happy with the episode, but I'll say, you know, you can look at it and go, they're not going to kill Michonne. Not yet.
That fight, I'm sorry, but the choreography was very lazy. I don't know. Like,
For
because I
an
was-
otherwise greatly choreographed
Right.
episode, this one
the
scene was
punches
a little
didn't look
sloppy.
real. It didn't seem like they were.
Which I'm going to tell
know
you,
what I'm talking about?
I could tell you from from a little bit of experience, as unchoreographed. I mean, which it wasn't choreographed all that well. But with that said, it was probably the most true to life fight, though. I mean, they were in close quarters. The girl kind of ran up on her. When you've got somebody that close up on you, you can't do some cool stuff unless you're highly trained like you see in the movies. I mean, you are throwing these short range punches and kind of moving each other around. It doesn't go like you would think it would go. So with that said, was it boring? Absolutely. But was it more realistic? Probably.
See, I was talking about how I like one of the her very first punch. I don't know, maybe it was the camera angle or what, but you could tell that it didn't even remotely look like it was
I
connected.
thought she killed her with the pot, but then she came
I know.
back and was still.
She
I thought
stabbed her right in the
it's
head.
like she's done. But so were you as happy as I was to hear Rick finally standing up to Negan and just telling it like the reiteration of, no, I told you one day I'm gonna kill you. I mean, I love that, man. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think he didn't
you know.
even necessarily mean him, just this insurrection he started. You know, it's going to overwhelm you. Maybe not today, not tomorrow.
Right. We've started
Someday
something
soon.
Yeah.
here.
The tide is
Maybe
turning.
not today.
He wasn't
maybe not
as.
tomorrow.
I mean, because
Someday
Negan was going to kill Carl. Like how, you know, again, I guess this kind of goes back to the Michonne question, but were you scared for Carl at
yes.
any point?
Oh my God, dude! I thought he was like going to bash him in the head or
So
something.
you actually, which I've been looking for them to kill Carl just because he's growing at an exponential rate that they can't control. I mean, Lost had the same problem with Walt. You know, Walt was spoiler alerts if you're watching Lost. Tune out for like 30
Jesus,
seconds.
if you catch up, man. It's been so long.
Yeah, Walt was supposed to be a huge part of the show, and they ended up writing him off more or less, which doesn't mean they necessarily killed him. But because they took off, you know, they took a little break from filming, and they came back, and the dude was like a foot or two taller. He hit his growth spurt, you know, over a 3 or 4 month period, and there was nothing they could do.
They could have made that a part of the show.
And they,
Like,
well,
why
they
did. You
did.
grow?
They
Oh,
did. Well, they
Okay.
did, but they couldn't make it fit within the timeline because Lost is there's no jumping. Well, I think there's lots of jumping, but in that stretch of season, it was all back to back to back. Everything happening was coming off of last episode, so it would have been no way, even on that island, to be like, oh, you got tall. But they do allude to, you know, I saw tall Walt. You know, they have. But so with Carl, I've been waiting for them to do. I've been expecting them to kill him because of that, but I don't think they ever will.
They need to find the medication they gave Burt Ward in the 60s Batman series that kept him small.
Right.
Which it was actually just like he filled out his cod piece too much, so they actually
Dude,
gave him medication.
Did
to
you
keep
ever
his-
see that? Because it came on CBS. That's how I found out about that. It was some kind of documentary
the
series,
same
but it was
thing I
like,
watched, yeah.
it was the dude from. He's been in a whole bunch of stuff. Jason Marsden or whatever. He was on a Boy Meets World stuff like that. He played Burt Ward.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about. That was
Yes,
very funny.
yeah.
That's going to be a terrible problem to be like, I'm too big for my costume.
Yeah.
But
In the wing.
but you know, Rick definitely didn't. I just expected Rick to react a little more to Carl because Negan was going to kill him. I mean, this wasn't a scare tactic. I mean, he was going to kill him. But
when he said take my hands or whatever, I thought he was going to maybe this is the point. He's going to chop his hand off. Now I'm giving up with that.
And I hope he doesn't, man. I mean, Robert Kirkman had even said that was something he regretted was taking Rick's hand, which again, it ended up being badass because it made him that much. You saw this one-handed, very skinny leader, and you were like, damn, this dude is Jesus even says that, and so does Negan. Both at some point tell Rick, which this Jesus is tiny on the show, so he couldn't make fun of Rick. But Jesus in the comics is a stockier fella, so he tells Rick, what do you weigh, 120 pounds? I mean, how do you must be a badass if these people follow you. And, Negan said something similar. So, Matt, this question was for you, but being we've already kind of covered it, I was going to say, as someone, I know
Ask
you've read.
Again, I'll answer it differently.
You've read the storylines, but as someone who hasn't read the comics, did you fear for Michonne when you saw the girl falling out the tower?
No, not at all.
But, we already kind of covered that.
And for one thing,
yes, I did. I was absolutely scared that she was dead. Oh, my goodness. I thought that's what happened.
There you go. That's what they
and
want.
And the girl falling screamed. And,
Michonne, she would take that. She would take the gravel to the face and be like, I got it.
Yeah, Michonne wouldn't scream. She just would be like, shit.
Rick should have known right then and there it wasn't her.
There's a lot going on, man. You got to, your brain's kind of scrambled. You got a guy standing behind your son who's getting ready to bash his brains in with a baseball bat.
True story.
So probably normal Rick would have been like, that's not my baby. She doesn't. She only screams like that. When we're out on scavenging missions.
Just look at Carl and just wink. Dad, not now.
Dad, stop
Coral,
talking about you.
I said?
Stop talking about you and her.
She's a moaner, Carl.
No.
She's a moaner, Carl. When we have sex. It's like you can't get it out enough.
That would have been really cool.
Sex, Carl.
If Negan would have looked at Rick and said, I didn't know she was a screamer or something like that.
That would have been nice.
That would have been Neganism.
But then Negan probably, I don't know. I was going to say, man, Negan probably didn't know who was in the tower. Negan's reaction to Shiva was amazing.
Yes.
I love that. And her entrance was amazing. Now, all right, JP.
Uh-huh.
JP. Number one, before JP. Actually, this one can be for both of you. What did you think? All right, so you were scared for Carl.
Yes.
What did you, if you thought something was going to save Carl, what did you think it was going to be?
I mean, I figured it would be not Maggie, like Carol and Ezekiel and them coming in, but I thought it would be like after, like he was going to kill Carl and then be like, I'm going to cut your hand off too so you remember this day or something like that.
Right.
And then they would come in. Or like a bullet. I figured a bullet was going to come out of nowhere and shoot somebody in the head.
I didn't even expect anything like that. I thought they'd hear gunshots ring out in the distance and it'd distract them. And
see, here was my thing because in the comics it was. I mean, Shiva. It was very well done. But here is my only complaint on that. It that was the perfect setup, and I thought it was going to be the Jesus Negan moment. Like that's when Jesus, because that's in the comics, right? Jesus puts them back. I mean, Negan puts them back in line, and it's kind of Jesus that rushes in and saves the day. And, gets Negan to the point where he could kill him. It's awesome because he catches Negan's bat with his hand and then slams it back into Negan's face. And you have this whole, I don't feel like we've had, in the comics, out the gate, you pretty much knew, wow, Jesus is a badass. In the show, you kind of get the hint, okay, he's kind of badass. But, JP, do you feel like they're underusing a really good character?
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's whacked a couple of zombies. But
right, he's done these cool double kicks on zombies. But, we want to see him kicking some. And I hope next season... That's really one of my biggest things. If they were to ask me what do you really want to see out of next season, Jesus being the badass that he is, because right now he's just it's like, oh, he's cool to have on you. He's kind of the kid. He's not the first kid you pick to play when you're in gym class and you're playing something. He might be the third or fourth. You're like, he's okay. I'll put him on my team, but. Mm-hmm. I just kept expecting Jesus. I didn't really know how he was going to sneak in. I mean, if they did it closer to the wall, he could have dropped in and. Did something, but the whole time I'm like, all right, here comes Jesus. That was I think if you go back and listen, I've been waiting for that moment.
Oh yeah.
For pretty much the whole season, the Jesus Negan, because it just establishes that Jesus is more badass than Negan.
We got that nice little barrel roll out of the truck.
Yeah.
When him and Carl. So, and then has anything else really happened with him?
Not really. I mean, he kicked the shit out of some zombies, and he also did. He got away from Rick and Daryl, but I just again, if you are watching the show and you go, I think Jesus is badass, you're right, he is. But if you actually go and look at the comics, you see what JP and I, what I'm saying is he's so much more badass in the comics, and I really hope they don't sideline him for Daryl. No. I really don't, because that's been a lot of a problem with a lot of characters is they've had to sideline their awesomeness. Like Tyrese, great character, loved him and missed him for a while. but he was so much more badass and had such a bigger role in the comics. But Daryl had the right-hand man status.
Was that a message from Eugene that he found?
No, that's the ending. That's one of my last questions.
Oh,
but
I don't know why I'm getting ahead of you. I'm so sorry. I didn't even look at your
list.
list.
What's funny is you were the one that used to suggest let's go in order of the episode, and so now that I do, you're the one jumping forward.
I got to do the opposite. Yeah.
But I just feel like that would have been the perfect opportunity for Jesus to jump in, save the day, and start the battle. But with that said, if they were going to do it differently, they did it perfect. Shiva jumping in was awesome. And I told my girlfriend, seriously, that probably was the most realistic way, because Jesus, where would he have came from? Tigers do that. They sneak up and they spring attack. So, I mean, it's very realistic that Shiva would have crouched down and gotten really close and then spring into action. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. So with that said,
and the CGI looks good too.
It does.
It looks
surprisingly
realistic.
well. It's had its moments where I'm like the deer. It's like, wow, they blew all their CGI department on funds on Shiva, and so when it comes to the deer,
or when the scavengers, like the background of the scavengers, I was like, they're not really trying. Maybe they put all the money.
I think
into
someone said
Shiva.
there was a plane in that too.
Yeah,
I thought I saw it
when
we were watching it, but I thought it was just maybe a bird.
So yeah, maybe they blew all the money on Shiva, and then they're just like, the rest of it, we'll just do what we can.
I thought round 2 of the battle was amazing. We finally got to see Morgan and Rick had their little Rick's kind of like glad to have you back nod. Morgan's
back together again,
stabbing
brother.
the shit out of people. Oh, man, I don't think I would have wanted Maggie on the front lines, though. I get she had to lead her people, but, dude, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been like, all right, Maggie, you can go, but, I mean, I need you to stay way on back so that if something happens, you can get the hell out of there.
Right.
But then again, I guess it is to showcase that Maggie's not the sit back.
And you can't tell Maggie,
She's not going to be the sit back and tell people to do it. Which, I mean, makes a good leader. You don't want a leader that's just going to tell you what to do. She goes with her people. And
is it me, or is her draw became really thick like this season? Like
I'd have to go back and really pay attention.
It's very thick. In the past couple
I had
episodes.
noticed, but I'd have to. I'm usually when Maggie's on screen, I'm just admiring her beauty.
Oh yeah,
I'm waiting for that booty to
strength.
get thick when she gets that pregnancy weight. That's what I'm waiting for.
That'll be her secret weapon.
You probably won't see it after they defeat Negan and group. They'll probably skip forward a few years, and the baby will be born, and she'll be back to being skinny.
Probably.
That was one of my last questions. Was do you think it was Dwight? I think Dwight left that soldier because Daryl found it. Daryl's the one that really doesn't trust Dwight, and Dwight didn't know that the scavengers were going to double cross him. And, I think that was, or that Sasha was dead. I think that was his way of saying, hey,
bro,
I'm not with them. I didn't know that.
Interesting.
So now Negan seems to suspect Eugene. Do you think he bought Eugene's story?
No, I think he's going to keep him on a short leash.
You think that now he's kind of watching him, he's bought the story for now. At least like, okay, that's plausible. That could have happened, but it doesn't mean I believe it. Type deal.
Which Negan's probably been double crossed a couple of different times, so he recognizes the start of it.
Real recognizes real, player.
Real recognizes.
So
real.
last question I have,
it
is the last question I have before we move to the comments section, which we've got some really good comments. How sad were you to have lost Sasha? I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really sad, but I really liked the way it's kind of like Tyrese. Like when I knew we were gonna lose Tyrese, it was like because I said it before that episode started when Tyrese died. I was like, I bet Tyrese is gonna die, and he did. I wasn't really that sad as I was just very happy with the way they did his death. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something I lost sleep over like I did with Glenn and Abraham. But at the same time, I thought that she did a great job. We'll miss her acting. She was a great actress, and I think that the way they sent her off was a really, really good send-off.
Well, there's a difference between spending 60 minutes preparing you for someone's death like they have with Tyrese and with Sasha, whereas Abraham and Glenn, it was like 5 minutes in,
bam,
done. So you don't have any time to process it. With this, we knew where they were going. We knew, and her character has had a really great storyline, a really good arc.
Yeah, and it was. She knew. We knew in her eyes she was just ready to go. I found Maggie's speech at the end really awesome because normally Rick gives all these speeches, you know, and I think they're definitely trying to set it up, and they're doing a great job to show that he's not the only one that possesses leadership qualities now. Like originally everyone looked to Rick and that was just it, and now they're trying to show you that these characters, Maggie especially, have grown and that Rick's not the only leader in the group. You know, they're not all just following Rick now. So I really liked that speech.
Really
she was
cool
holding
scene.
holding Herschel and Glenn's watch.
I thought the sound was off on my TV because her mouth was moving,
Yeah.
and then she was speaking, but it looked like a Japanese film, like it was two different, but she was telling them something different. I get it now.
I'm gonna say for my money, I think best like closing scene for a season finale this show's had so far.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I could agree with that.
I did. I really enjoy it. It's probably definitely up there. Probably
If it
one of the
would,
best episodes
I
of the
will
season.
say seriously, if they wouldn't have left us at a cliffhanger, then I would say it competes with last season just because of the way last season had me on the edge. Like last season finale, man, I don't think many shows have ever put me on the edge of my seat the way I was when we first met Negan, and he was. I mean, that was just amazingly filmed. I mean, like, it just was so tense, and just Andrew Lincoln's face acting was off the charts. But I could agree with that. Definitely, probably the best ending note we've had from any. So now taking it to the comments section. This I really like this one right here.
the very first name that made my heart explode with joy.
Yeah, right. You guys, the commenters and listeners, are really good at making our hearts explode. We text these to each other,
Right.
by the way. Like
Which,
when you,
and I gotta tell you, I mean, yeah, we enjoy
not
the
JP,
Walking
his
Dead.
phone broke.
I don't have a phone.
Oh, is that the reason you haven't been responding to me?
Well, one of the reasons.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Good
no.
answer. Good answer.
I agree. I know
don't
where
like
Matt's
your
going,
news.
and I agree. Like, we love The Walking Dead, but seriously, like, I mean, it's just a show. It's
Right?
it's talking
we don't
to
get
you
paid
guys.
for it. We do this
yeah,
for enjoyment, but that makes it
the
really
comments
worth
make
it.
us want to stay at it. They
I've
keep
been
us from
getting a
dropping
check.
off.
You guys haven't been getting a check? I've been getting checks.
What have you been doing? Are you supposed to split it 3 ways? Take it to the bank, deposit it, split it?
I guess
Is that why you and
we
Jeff
will-
have spent so much time together, though?
We will have-
What
Who
are you
is
doing for that
Jeff?
check?
forget I mentioned anything.
Who the hell is Jeff?
If you weren't wearing an awesome Wolverine hat right now, we'd have a problem.
And I
All
like
right,
your
so
shirt, too. That's good.
taking it to the
Yeah.
comments section, the Bushma show.
The Bushma show?
Hey guys, actually he says hi, so I misquoted him. Hi guys, I'm from Tunisia, which awesome. That is, it's so cool to have
that's
listeners.
the county over, right? It's
Right,
only like
it's just down the
45
street.
Yeah.
It's so cool to have listeners from other countries. That is awesome. He says, and I love your podcast. It's entertaining. It's as entertaining as a show itself. I don't know about that, but I really appreciate the sentiment.
take it. I'll take
yeah,
it,
we'll
yeah.
take it. Great work. Keep doing it. Would you guys do me a huge favor and say, absolutely, yes, we will. Happy birthday, Ashma.
Is
that it?
Ashma?
I think so. Ashma, we hope.
What do you think?
Ashma. Let's do 2. Let's do Ashma
All right.
and then Ashma.
here we go.
Ash and Ah. Ready?
Ah.
3, 2, 1. Happy birthday, Ashma.
That was good. Where were you?
I was actually gonna say that'll be like $9.99 for a birthday shout out.
So this is how you're getting
this
those
is where
checks.
I'm getting the revenues.
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
All right, JP, for free, you're going to do the second take with us. This time we're saying Ashma.
All right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Ashma.
Oh, yay!
Of course, JP has to be behind.
That's all right.
But happy birthday. We hope it,
That's really
being that
exciting.
comment was left a few days ago, I'm assuming your birthday's already passed, but
And that's really cool
I
of your
hope it
friend
has.
to put in the comments, say happy birthday to my friend.
Yeah, I hope it's been a good one for you if it has, and if it hasn't, I hope you have a good birthday. Moving on to JP with our next comment.
Alyssa Chet. Ooh, this is a long one. Hey guys, one more thing. I don't know if you guys have dived into the idea of what you would do in the zombie apocalypse. It drives me nuts when they don't address stuff on the show that would be obvious. Like when they go on supply runs, why not just go to the highway and grab a few semis loaded with canned goods, and then they're done for the week?
Because it's just that easy.
Why not get a few backhoes and excavators and dig pits around their areas?
Yes.
And they could shove tons of
I
zombies in
thought
these
that
pits
exact
yeah.
thought. Make a moat.
with the backhoes, and others would fall in instead of building huge walls. I think this would be better. I know it's a TV show, but isn't that what makes it fun? I watch and think, what would you do if alone in this world?
Absolutely. I absolutely.
In the world, not in this world.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
I would still have the walls, but I've always thought, man, if I had the ability, I would dig a deep ass moat in front.
walled in moat or moat than wall?
Moat outside of the wall.
Okay.
Like the
Well,
wall,
like
the
a- like an
final
actual
defense, like a
kingdom.
castle.
Yeah, that
'cause-
makes sense.
Because I mean, I guess you could do the moat behind the wall, but then you'd have
I don't-
people
Ain't no
accidentally
castle
falling
ever
in.
kept no enemies out.
But
I
see,
think a big moat, which actually, we'll discuss it shortly. But I do think if you guys are okay with it, maybe our next episode.
We're gonna make a moat?
Actually, next Monday we'll do kind of a recap of the whole season, and then
Oh my
in 2
God,
weeks,
that's
perhaps in our off season, we could do what we would do in the zombie apocalypse.
That would be fun.
the only problem with the moat, though, in Northern Virginia, all that stale, stagnant water,
Oh,
mosquitoes
yeah.
are breeding. Next thing
That
you know,
is
you got
true.
typhoid.
What
That's
if
true.
you keep
Malaria.
churning the water? What have you found a way to keep
Just
churning?
seems like
Just keep
more-
people on. They have to
I
go
don't
on your
know.
churn.
Just get a couple of zombies, put them on a treadmill, and have that powering a wheel
Where
that
are we
turns a
finding
giant.
these excavators and these treadmills and everything? What is? Oh yeah, like a little wheel.
Hey, we're in the South, man. There are excavators. I mean, you go down 58. There's
true.
there's a tractor shop right down the road with
very
all
true.
kinds of
All
things.
You
sorts
know,
of stuff.
one thing from the comic though, they made a lot of obstacles outside of Alexandria. I don't
Yeah.
remember about a moat, but they definitely made it hard.
And
to
she
get
did.
to.
Alyssa didn't actually say moat. She just said a big trench, which probably would be better than a moat. I just really like the idea of a
But then
moat.
eventually the
with
zombies would fall in
alligators.
there and they would just walk
but
over.
a big pit with spikes at the bottom of it. I mean, would be
Yes.
perfect because zombies would never make it to your walls to push them down. Even if a
Unless-
herd, they would just fall.
You'd have to get in there and clear it
Yeah,
out. every
no,
once in a
yeah,
while.
you'd have to have a cleaning crew
Who's on?
for sure.
Oh,
but
good God.
no, so absolutely would not do the moat. Just think it would be really cool. But the spiked pit would be awesome. All right, Matt, Jeep.
Oh, hey, Jeep, how you doing? I think, and these are all from last week's episode, so some folks asked some questions about last week's episode. I think some of Maggie's notes, or maybe a copy of the map Jesus made, was inside the knife holder that the Savior took from Enid, making her the little birdie. Now, are we pretty much assuming that
I have not
Jadis
thought
was
that. Yeah, I've not thought once since I did back in season 6. I did think that she was working with the wolves, but since the wolves
Right.
thing has been over, I've not really been on the Enid's a traitor thing. I think she's with the group.
Gregory is going to talk to Simon, but the timeline doesn't fit with it being him, and Eric is with Rick and company, so it's not him either. And by the way, why the hell does Gregory need someone to drive him to see Simon? Can't the idiot do anything for himself? Absolutely not. He just wanted a nice little Miss Daisy moment. I wish people would quit whining about some of these episodes. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeep. I've been able to take something out of all of them. The only one I could say I wasn't that keen on was the Junkyard episode. The CGI in it was really kind of crap, and well, I just don't really care about Jadis or Yoda or whatever her name is. And finally, Matt, an episode about Judith would be the most boring thing ever, so I'm going to forget you said that. To which I replied, come on, give it a chance. Judith could kill her first zombie. You get all of Carl's internal thoughts by him talking to Judith throughout the entire episode. Her first word could be dead. Like they think, did you say dad? No, she said dead. Or something weird. The episode writes itself, Baby's Day of the Dead Out. That's my episode that I'm writing.
I actually I'm glad to see someone agrees with that's what I've been I've been probably more than
Throwing a
anyone
little
defending
shade.
this season. I mean, I've said I've definitely seen where it's been more boring, but I've definitely been trying to say, hey, I'm holding out for something awesome. So Jeep, I'm
Which
with you, man.
I get that he's saying that to the comments, but I feel like his eyes are kind of darting over to me a little bit when he says
I'm sure.
that. Yeah.
I'm sure.
So I'm sorry I offended you, but I'm just not, I
Joe
enjoyed this one.
W. I don't think you offended him. I just think he's like, yeah,
I'm
whatever.
sorry, Jeep. Please forgive me. Please don't leave me.
Joe Double.
You all right, bro?
Oh, geez.
I got something. JP, take. I got something in
Oh,
my throat. Take
God,
this
you
one. Yeah,
okay?
JP,
I've
take
got you,
this one.
pal.
All right, take this one. I'll come back to the one after.
Oh,
after.
good. Yeah, read this
You've
one.
been eating
Some
that dry
water.
oatmeal and
I
it
need
just
some
gets
water.
stuck in the
Yeah,
back of
get
your
this
throat.
one and I'll drink some water and get the
All
next
right.
one.
Joe W. I love The Walking Dead, but it's just not the same anymore. If they kill someone, it's always at the end or mid-season ending.
It's true.
If they did not do that, I would have been on the edge of my seat this episode. I wasn't even interested because I knew someone wasn't gonna die because it wasn't a mid-season or season finale.
Talking about last week's episode, obviously.
Season finale. Was that your misprint? Or
Finale
did you just
or season. I wasn't even interested because I knew someone wasn't going to die because it wasn't a mid-season. Or yeah, that was probably.
I was
me.
wondering if
Which
that was
some of the
his goof
things
or your goof.
I mean, some of the
I
times
wanna know who
missed
to yell
it.
at.
JP's a very big grammar.
We can go back and look because
expert.
when I carry them over to Microsoft Word, sometimes I fix some of the things to make it a little bit easier. I might have missed that. Either way, you know what, Joe? I'm gonna take the lead on
You're
this
taking
one.
the
I'm sorry.
heat?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
take the heat. I'm sorry.
5 lashings are going to you.
Damn, dude.
All right, 4. I'll still watch the show because I want to see the ending, but with Glenn gone and no more surprising deaths or scenes where I'm just like, oh my God, what just happened? It's just not that fun to watch anymore. Also, if you guys pick my comment, we picked your comment, please never let JP read it.
That's funny.
Oh wow,
That's funny.
awkward.
That is funny. He put on there.
Was-
He
was-
put on face on the comments. He's not mad. He's just kidding with you.
No, that has to be another misprint, right?
No,
Jay,
no.
you must have meant Justin.
That one I made sure was in there.
Clearly,
That
I am the better orator
Oh, are you?
on this podcast. So this must
Thought
be
that was gonna
something.
be
I'm not
Just
gonna
say-
lie. I felt physical pain while you were reading that comment.
Is it okay?
What?
Like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Now everyone's turning
That's
against
called
me.
scrimia.
Joe
Yeah.
W.
Now you know how Rick feels with the garbage kids.
and Justin.
Garbage kids we are.
I'm a really
kids,
good
garbage
reader.
adults.
You
They're
are.
so
You
stupid.
did good.
They offered me to go from track B to track A in reading in second grade, but my best friend was in track B, so I was like, I'm not leaving.
Friendship held you back.
Keep track A. I don't want it.
What
Even though I have
about love?
great reading comprehension.
Don't you want- All right, so moving on, I'll go to Christians, and then we'll
Hey,
just
Christian
resume.
Anthus.
Christian Anthus, always good comments. Let's see. Don't forget the Jesus Negan moment. Right, I know. Also has Shiva. Also have Shiva come get some too. Funny moment when Negan reacts when he says they weren't ready for a tiger. Right, that was my complaint, Christian.
Is anyone
I
ever
wonder.
ready for a tiger?
I wonder if you were as disappointed as I was to not have the Jesus Negan moment. The Shiva moment was amazing, and Negan's reaction was also amazing.
Baby
but
steps.
still, I wanted Jesus to kick the shit out of Negan. All right, Matt, Michonne Grimes.
Michonne Grimes. I'm not sure if Gregory will tell Simon about Maggie. What I mean is it may be too late for him to tell, or how will he tell about Maggie and now Daryl? They missed a good moment on killing Gregory this episode, too. My
Yeah.
thought is he will have
It'll
to come
come.
up. I'm hoping so.
It'll
so
be
terrible.
glorious.
I can't wait for that guy to die.
It's going to be glorious.
My thought is he will have to come up with a real good story. Now they are going to want to know why it took so long for him to come forward. Also, I hate, ooh, 3 hates, the way the garbage pail people talk.
Right.
It kind of takes me out of a moment every time Jadis opens her mouth.
Right.
That
That's
seems
why
to
we
be the
need some
general
kind of
consensus.
backstory. We need to
Yeah.
know, like, they were like German tourists and they got stranded here when the apocalypse happened. And
That
so,
would be
you know.
hilarious if that's how they became the Whisperers, because everybody makes fun of the way they talk, and they're like, you know what, guys, it's not working out. Let's just not talk at all, or talk very low. That's just
True.
my thought. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Got really
Back-
quiet. Sorry, I did hit a nerve on that one.
No. I don't know what JP was thinking. I was just gonna say, well, they only whisper when they're among crowds of zombies. Other than that, they talk
I was
very
trying
normally.
to-
But
trying
it
to
worked.
connect
I
it.
could see the parallel there.
Thank you.
All right, Lisa Jet says, I can't think who the snitch might be to Negan. Well, we now know. I was thinking maybe Eric because of his problem he had with Aaron going out on missions with Rick and putting himself at risk. Or maybe Tobin. Not Tobin. Only because there isn't that many people that we know could... okay. Could have done it. They could have... They could have an wait a minute, what? They could have an unknown be the one. Okay, they could have an unknown to be the one, but that would be underwhelming. So I think it's going to be a minor Alexandrian that spilled the beans. And actually, it was Jadis and her ridiculous
Yoda talking
talking friends.
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
That old guy, man, I don't like him.
I try to fix these comments for you best I can. Sometimes I miss the.
That's okay.
the little. You should, man. When I'm trying to read them,
What I got-
a little shorthand there.
What
it's,
I got, the only thing that pulled me up was I guess it was supposed to be cold. It was supposed to be could,
instead
and
of
it says cold, and I'm like, wait a minute,
I thought it was saying, hey, we know people can be that cold.
wait a minute, that they
Wait a
cold have done it. Is this
They
code?
cold have done it.
Are
Oh my
you
God.
are you speaking
Blink
like the
twice
garbage
if
pail
you're not
people?
okay, Elisa.
Captain Cold did it? What's going on?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, JP, Joyce Stone, let's hit it.
And this is some random stuff that I found in the comments.
Oh, nice. I love random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A live podcast for the finale from the man cave would be awesome.
But JP had to work.
Yeah, my grocery manager had the flu.
It happens, buddy.
Things I'm looking for in the finale: Jesus getting the upper hand on Negan, Shiva taking out some saviors,
Ding.
Simon running scared,
Yeah.
Gregory dying,
Nah.
Oh.
Bah.
Michonne killing Eret.
Nah.
Who's
Michonne
Eret?
killed just
A rat.
Eret? Who is that?
That chick that killed Olivia. The one that's kind of like the role I would have seen Sasha
The one-
filling if she would have actually worked for Negan.
The girl that when
you think
Negan was like
Negan-
shoot somebody, and she was like, okay.
Oh,
and
I
she
didn't even
shut
Do you
it.
She
think
had a
Negan
name.
and a rat have made Whoopi?
I feel like there's a very short list of people who haven't made Whoopi.
Do you think Negan and Eugene have made Whoopi?
Oh, definitely, bro. That monkey is there for just
Man, one thing about
moral
Eugene,
support.
man, I love his whole like Johnny Cash look,
right.
with the long
Oh,
black
my
coat
God,
and
dude.
everything.
He kind of reminds me of Clark from season 8 of Smallville, where he's just wearing like all black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Or season 9 or something. No, too much.
I only got like 3 episodes in that show, and I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
it's
the same thing every episode.
Oh yeah.
Kryptonite's going to come out of some random place. He's going to be hurt. Someone's going to save him. He's going to then save them, and the episode ends.
Which a little bit later on it was okay, but yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
pretty
get
much what
far
it
I
into
never
Smallville.
watched that one.
So back to Elisa Jett. Man, I've gotten 2 of her comments. No,
Oh.
wait, it's not me, is it? It's,
I read her first one.
You
You
read
got
her
her
first
second
one.
one. Now this is the third.
I just read her there towards the
job,
end, though.
Elisa. Well, we missed KK
Actually,
Bacon
no,
also.
KK Bacon. You know why? Because I check things as we go by, and I just checked KK Bacon.
All right, good. Moving
so,
on.
So, yeah, no, did not mean to ignore you, KK Bacon. So you just read. Now, Matt, you're doing KK Bacon.
Okay. Oh, Bacon.
I mean, you're not doing him.
Yeah,
but
there's
you're
got to be a
gonna
better
read
way
this
to
comment.
say that.
Yeah.
Huh. If y'all have been seeing the ads that
You're
show
having sex with him.
this is I said it was random stuff. So if y'all have been seeing the ads that show the sun with Pierce Brosnan,
yeah.
it's based on the novel The First Son of Texas. Y'all could make one hell of a podcast. I don't know anything about this, but I
It
like
looks
Pierce
really
Brosnan.
good. Oh, yeah, it looks really good. Does it have
preview looks
zombies in
good.
it?
I think Texan zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Really?
said something, a preview for it said, if you think zombie apocalypse, zombies and such is bad, imagine
Oh, I was just kidding. Are
something.
they really zombies?
I don't know. It might not be, but
I
check,
thought it was about
check,
oil or
check
something
one of
like
the
that.
trailers. Like one of the trailers does say, I didn't think there were zombies in it, but one of the trailers I saw for it last night during the episode seemed to suggest that.
Yeah, it
Maybe it
looks
just
really
was saying
cool.
surviving.
Okay, so it's a Western.
Pierce
and,
Brosnan's like a land baron of some sort.
That sounds about right. Oh, wow, look at that beard, dude. He
Oh, yeah.
plays Eli McCullough. But it's just a Western from AMC. Yeah, so I guess it's going to take the place of Hell on Wheels or something.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys want to hear a podcast on that, just comment below. We basically base most of what we do off of your comments. So if you would like to see that as a podcast, just tell us. We could pick up a new show.
Per the Orlando Sentinel, it is a family drama that's an unexpected pleasure. It's also a topical Western about race relations and border conflicts.
I love Pierce Brosnan.
I do.
The Matador.
Set in
Great movie.
1849, and yeah, it's about him trying to survive. Oh, wow. So the guy survived Comanche attacks, had like oil fields and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, we could definitely
Nice.
check it out. Because look for one of the trailers. If you look it up, you'll see what I was saying. I didn't think there were zombies per se, but it mentioned something about surviving zombies. Something was hard and try back in something. I'd have to look it
I
back
hope he
up.
has some Bond gadgets in it.
Elisa Jett, once again.
Hey!
I that's my second time reading one of her comments, and it never gets old. We love you, Elisa. So you
Probably
guys
let
did
you read those, not JP.
Yeah, be glad that I'm reading them. I can't imagine what JP would be saying. We've kept JP to guys, just
To guys?
for the.
Yeah,
That always seems to be the case.
it always comes up somehow.
It's prison again.
I still want to know who the hell that guy was you said earlier. Who'd you say? Phil? What was
Jeff.
his name? Jeff?
That's why he's getting paid and we're not.
Jeff.
Oh yeah, don't forget I said anything.
All right,
Not
so
important.
Elisa Jett, once again, I feel like we're becoming best friends. You guys did a great job of covering so much in a short amount of time.
stop
Thank
it.
you. I have a feeling that this channel will grow and grow. I also really like and appreciate the time you take in that short amount of time you have to include us, the viewers, in your broadcast each week. I think it's a great idea to include our comment as much as you can on the show, and really makes it fun to tune in to you guys all the more. Thank you for your show and all your time to bring us each week. I wish you did even more.
I think that was because
so sweet.
We got
Thank
her
you,
name
Elisa.
correct finally last week.
So
and I think
she's very happy.
about that was all those holding her back. She's like, once they get my name right, then it'll be compliments from here.
Yeah, Lisa, we appreciated that. We probably whenever we build a different studio, we'll probably take like some of our favorite comments,
when
print
is
them
that
out,
happening?
well, we're not getting paid, so probably for a while.
Well, you and I
do-
aren't getting paid, but
Right.
apparently
I do have
money into that. I'll tell you that much.
I do have an
man over
entire another part of my basement that we're not using. The man cave's
saw
on
that
one
for a
side.
minute. Yeah.
I could turn that into a little home
Great
studio.
acoustics.
Who knows? Yeah. So, Elisa, thank you so much for that.
That was really nice.
And wrapping it up for this podcast, almost before we do the ratings, JP, we're going to give
Oh,
you a
it's my
girl
turn?
here. Michonne,
boy.
You
watch
finally
out.
get a girl. Here
You
you
never
go.
give me a girl. Hey guys, what if Enid ended up being Negan's daughter? Wow, what a twist that would be. That's me saying that, not her.
Wow.
And she was the little bird. Alternate
unquote.
universe.
That
Nice.
would
I like
be
those
a
ideas
cool
like
twist
that.
on things. That really would. But now we know that she was not the little bird. Definitely
Love
an alternate universe.
Is there a possibility that someone could still be the little bird, or we did? It's Jadis?
It's got to be Jadis. If it's not, then it's I don't. I guess there probably will be fan theories that there's another little bird out there. But I took it as Jadis.
Okay.
So this podcast went a little over. JP's got pit stains.
Me too, dude. What's going on today, man? Did I not?
I do
Yeah.
not.
You don't? What kind of deodorant are you using?
Degree.
Oh man, I'm not wearing any
what am I
deodorant,
using?
no
Dove
wonder.
or something? Okay.
I use Dove too. It doesn't have aluminum in it.
Yeah, see, that's the reason I have to
I
use.
just
the other
use
ones will give me, like,
Degree,
little
but
bumps or something. It's not
I
good.
got a rash from Old Spice.
Degree for men or for women?
For women.
Okay, because hey, the antiperspirant, bro.
No, Degree for men.
And
It
you smell
smells
so
really
pretty.
good, and it works. But it leaves white residue.
This program brought to you by Degree for Men.
And
Justin's
and
Dry
Dove.
Pits.
But all right, so wrapping this podcast up, the season 7 finale. The show is now over until October.
So crazy, dude. What are we
Okay,
gonna do?
so let's start with ratings. Well, we've gotten some pretty positive feedback on our off-season
Yeah, that's always
content,
nice.
so we'll continue to do those as
And
long
could
as you
we-
guys listen.
Could we branch out to other stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll start doing some other shows. Yeah. Like I said, The Sun, maybe we'll start doing. I really wouldn't mind doing a preacher podcast if I thought enough people would listen.
When you said that, I thought you were making a joke. Say, we'll podcast on the sun. I don't got it like the sun in the sky. It's like just a big yellow ball of fire. Whatever you want to. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Whatever.
So, what are you going to rate this episode?
Ooh, this is a good episode. I'm going to give it a 9.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to give it a 9.
Hell.
I enjoyed this episode, especially the last 20 minutes. They did a good job of wrapping thing up. Really nice, solid ending. I like it's just like last season. I like where it ended on kind of a happy note, more or less.
It kind of ended like the mid-season finale. It ended with a positive, a hopeful
That's
outlook.
what I meant. That's right. That's when they got.
Last season ended with
Daryl
somebody
out of
getting their
there.
head beat in. There was nothing positive.
No,
about
that was wonderful. That was awesome.
But yeah, the mid-season
So the
finale
mid-season.
very similar. It ended on a very positive note.
So, and I like, and then Negan even said, we're at war, or what do you say? We're literally going.
We're going to war,
We're going
yeah.
to war, and I look forward to what that brings.
So 9
So
from
9.
Matt.
It's going to be a long
Nice.
summer. I'm not looking forward to that.
No, that's going to say, hey, we got Game of Thrones. And someone mentioned
the
that if you
10-episode
guys
season?
would like, I think this is only going to be, no, they're always 10 episodes. I think this is going to be
season's gonna
8 episodes.
and the next season will be 6 episodes or something like.
The very last season I've heard is going to be only 6 episodes. This season
sad.
I've heard is only going to be 8 episodes, but
I'm
I could be
mad.
wrong. But they're normally only 10, which is why they get, don't bore us with storylines. But yeah, that's the only. And someone mentioned a Game of Thrones podcast. If we get enough feedback that there are enough Game of Thrones fans out there, I will be more than happy to do a Game of Thrones podcast.
Tell your friends.
In the summer. Absolutely.
Tell your enemies.
JP, what are you going to rate the episode?
Nah, I was thinking 9 as well. I think the only thing.
Yeah. All right.
The only thing, I mean, it was a little predictable, but
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't think it could have been any better.
I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Oh, look at
I
that.
was going to give it a 10. The only
Whoa.
thing that actually stopped me from giving it a 10, seriously, and it's petty, I know,
please
but
go on.
everyone has their own opinions.
We'll be the judge of that.
Well, because I really wanted to see the Jesus moment. Like I've been looking.
I mean, from
if
what
you
we're
go
reading, a
back
lot
and
of people
listen,
do, yeah.
if you go back and you listen to these podcasts from pretty much the beginning of this season on, I've been saying like I really can't wait to get to that moment between Negan and Jesus, where Jesus just whoops his ass in front of everyone, more or less. And we didn't get that, but we did get an awesome Shiva scene. So I mean, it was a decent trade
And I want
off.
to see Jadis die. Like, we should have got one big bad guy death. It should have been Jadis.
I would
Yeah.
like to have seen that.
Or at least
too.
that old man. I mean, he's just kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I didn't see him that much. Was he running around?
Yeah, well, he's the one that fired the flare, right?
Oh,
like
that's
he
right.
went behind the thing and I think he just probably watches her sleep
What was the purpose of the flare?
to tell them to get the hell out, right?
Okay, I thought he was trying to draw zombies in at first or something.
No,
Like a
I think it was
distraction.
just like a signal, get the hell out, and then they threw those little smoke.
I want to learn how to
Because
make
those
one of
people
those.
were on the outside, and when they saw the flare, they started throwing in those little smoke bombs, and they used the smoke to get away.
plans,
Straight Ninja Turtle status.
right?
Yep.
But yeah,
When he moves all
so
the things off of the bells.
a
yeah.
strong episode. I hope they'll take a note from the hopefully positive response they get from this episode when doing next season and say, okay, guys, we've got to, not every episode has to be shit slinging awesome, but, we need it to be faster, a little more development each episode.
Like season 8 is literally going to be the point. Because a lot of people are already talking about how, I see it on the internet a lot. Some people are like, you got to stick with it. Some people are like, bah, I gave it up a long time ago. No, I'm going back and trying it. Season 8 is going to be the defining moment of Walking Dead. They're either going to get back to the point where everybody's like, yeah, it's great again, or people are going to even more people are going to jump ship.
Start the campaign. Make The Walking Dead great again.
There you
Kill
go.
Daryl. Switch it up a little bit. Make some
I've
people
been
riot.
saying,
Free
man,
publicity.
Though they need to kill Daryl. I mean, that would not that I don't like Daryl. I mean, Daryl's a great character. I like him, and somebody got really, really upset because I wasn't as excited to see him reunited with his crossbow because apparently you're not allowed to have an opinion or dislike characters. But I, like Daryl, I do think he's a great character. I love Norman Reedus to death, but I mean, I just feel like he's run his course, man. I mean, just like Glenn did. Glenn kind of ran his point, I mean, with Daryl now, Daryl's a cold-hearted killer now. I mean, woo.
Yeah, I'm kind of over his story.
I mean, like let's make it an awesome death. I'm not saying just shoot him in the head,
absolutely.
move on. Like, let's get an awesome send off.
That would be so funny. Pew, done.
Let's get an awesome send off for arguably the most popular character on the show, but don't do it at a premiere or finale or mid-season finale. Go back to like when you killed Lori, man. That was just like a random episode. It wasn't a mid-season finale or a season finale. It just 1 minute she's there, the next minute Maggie cuts her stomach open and she dies.
Do you think Zario, what's his name?
Greg Nicotero?
Nicotero, there we go. Do you think he actually listens to the fans?
Well, Scott
seeks
Gimple
out.
writes it. Greg Nicotero directs some. And I mean, he's written a few episodes, but most of the show running is handled by Scott Gimple. So it's Scott Gimple. And I don't know if he listens to, because I mean, I think they say he talks to Robert Kirkman. Like Robert Kirkman's in on every episode writing, like they consult him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope he does. I mean, if you, I mean, I get that you're telling a story. As somebody that loves to write, like sometimes it has to get boring because you want to tell a story. But at the same time, you've got to keep people watching. Mm-hmm. You know, that was some of my like Stephen King. Love Stephen King, great works. But there are, and if you are a Stephen King fan, sorry if this hurts your feelings. You know, but there are some Stephen King works. And, you know, as amazing as a writer as he is, some of his works just have some parts that get really boring and hard to stick with. It's not it's not a testament to his writing skill. We know he's an amazing writer, but it's just he's trying to tell you a story, and sometimes you got to go out in left field to get where you want to go. So
true story.
Hopefully they'll take a note this season and say, hey, we've got to tell this story, but we've got to find a way to make it interesting as often as we can. No more. You know, just single episodes on Oceanside, which funny enough was JP's favorite episode.
It really was. I like.
You stick with that, brother. To each his own.
I'm sticking with
real. Real recognizes real, right?
You're not following reviews on that one. You definitely are thinking for yourself. So
I mean, the Sandy zombies and I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Did you like when they revisited Oceanside?
Yeah, I wish they would do like a spinoff, like Fear the Walking Dead just takes place at Oceanside.
Oh my God!
I forget all about Fear the Walking Dead.
I think most of us try to.
Mm-hmm. Is it still going?
Yeah. Oh. Well, my dad had told me because I watched the first two. Well, we podcasted.
Yeah.
Like we got like the first episode or two of last season, and then we just all got so bored with it. We were like, dude, screw this. It's the only time I've ever just like straight up quit something mid podcast. And then no kidding, my dad told me that like as soon as we quit watching the very next episode, like stuff hit the fan, and it just got really, really good. He said the finale was really good. Like it's not Walking Dead good, but it's gotten a lot better. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like their mid-season finale where all the zombies were in the barn and the old lady gets eaten and stuff. But it wasn't great.
You could literally be making that up, but I'll believe you.
Yeah, I liked Victor Strand. He was cool.
Yeah, Victor. He was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, I maybe he is. I don't know.
No.
Who knows? But so we will see you next week. Next week we'll do a season recap. We'll kind of just do like a season 7, overall review. Go back and
comment about how you felt about this season. Like, what were some of your favorite points? What were some of your not favorite?
Yeah, maybe bring up some points that we haven't covered. Some things you want to hear us talk about, or some things that maybe we missed that could sway the way we look at it. Really get in on the discussion again, as Elisa Jett said, and we get to calling you by your name here. You know what I'm saying? We really thrive on your comments. So the more you comment, the more you give us to talk about.
Did we scare Amethyst?
I don't know.
We sent her a bag with an ear necklace.
You sent her the ear necklace. Did you send her dick pics?
No. Why would I do that?
Because you did it to one of our other winners.
Yeah, that's true. Well, she just seemed a lot. She
was
didn't
my
deserve
mother.
That kind of treatment. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm just playing.
But I know Amethyst.
My
You're
dad
out there.
would
We
so
missed
kill
you.
you.
We had. It was like I don't know if we creeped her out by saying send us a picture of you and your necklace. But
Did you include only? Did you accidentally slide the word only in there? You were supposed to say send us a picture of you wearing the message, the necklace. Did you send a picture saying send us? I can't talk. Did you send her a message with the package that said send us a picture of you wearing only the necklace?
I sent her a message of my package with the message that said only you.
A picture of your package with a necklace hanging on it.
Oh my God! It's so. See, Sam Burbia Pictures did a movie, did a short film.
And I can't find that Sam Burbia Pictures. If you're listening, why can't I find the video you did when you won the knife from us? I showed that to so many people. I thought it was amazing.
Email it to us so we can put it up.
A very flattering video.
Right after she won it, I said, send us a picture of you wearing only the necklace, and she commented.
Matt, I wrongfully accused you. It wasn't Matt. It was JP that ran her away.
But she commented that, that's hilarious. You're great, JP. I love you. Let's meet sometime.
Well, I mean, it's just
you had me into that last sentence.
Yeah, no, you scared Amethyst away.
No, she loved it. Check back the comments.
See, that's how much we appreciate your comments.
We miss you if we don't see you.
When we don't see you commenting, it bothers us.
True story.
Because we love all of our listeners.
I hope she didn't put the ear necklace on and the cops saw her and arrested her because they thought it was a real ear necklace.
No.
And that she's stuck in some Tijuana prison or something.
It could be. But we'll see you next week. I'm Justin.
I'm Matt.
And JP.
Hey.
Ooh.